The Supreme Court of India struck down the Electoral Bonds scheme, a scheme that allows for anonymous political donations. Anonymous meaning without disclosing your identity. The decision was taken on 15th of February 2024 by a 5-judge constitution bench. The Electoral Bonds scheme is struck down. The State Bank of India is instructed to stop issuing electoral bonds, furnish details to the Election Commission of India regarding donations received as contribution by political parties, refund unencashed electoral bonds back to the donors subject to a 15-day shelf life as per the scheme. The Election Commission of India must publish details obtained from the State Bank of India on their website by March 13, 2024. Provisions in the Companies Act that allowed making unlimited financial contribution to political parties has been struck down. Provisions in the Representation of People Act that didn't require parties to make declaration for donation received through electoral bond has been struck down as well. An electoral bond is a bond issued by the State Bank of India in various denominations to those interested in making donations to registered political parties, all while maintaining donor anonymity. This scheme was introduced by the Modi government in 2018. The data on electoral bonds disclosed during the case showed alarming figures, with the latest one being an RTI query by transparency activist Commodore Lokesh Batra, which revealed electoral bond of more than 570 crores were sold between Jan 2nd and Jan 11th of 2024. The case was filed by the Communist Party of India, Common Cause and Association for Democratic Reforms. The petitioners argued that the voters have the right to information concerning public and the government, which definitely includes the financial contribution to political parties. But the electoral bond scheme squarely limits this right. Allowing for anonymous donations makes way for a third party to influence public policy which may endanger public interest. So a private interest of confidentiality cannot overpower a voter's right. The case was filed against the Union of India, in simple, the government in itself. It was argued by the Union the citizens do not have the right to know regarding funding to political parties. The anonymity of donors as per the scheme reduces the influence of black money in politics and protects the donors from being threatened by opposing parties. The political affiliation of a citizen is an essential part of their right to privacy. So the ability to purchase these electoral bonds without having to disclose their identity is a key facet of this right. Since it is the legislature that governs the country, they are better suited to evaluate the influence of political contribution than the judicial bodies. It was further argued that a mere possibility that a law may get abused in the future is not a good enough ground to strike down a scheme entirely. The Supreme Court reached its verdict and held that the electoral bond scheme is violative of the right to information and Article 19 Clause 1 Subclause A of the Indian Constitution. This makes the electoral bond scheme unconstitutional. It was highlighted that a deep association between money and politics can result in favorable policy changes in the interest of the donors. Since voters are at the receiving end of these policies, the voters certainly have a right to know the donors. The arrangements arising out of monetary donations are nothing but a quid pro quo system allowing for donors to influence the policies and political environment of a country. Such unfettered powers not in favor of the voters. Right to privacy in political affiliations extends only to a genuine form of public support with no arrangement for anything in written apart for the welfare of the public. This judgment is definitely historic for imbibing and reinforcing the need for transparency in the politics of the country.